The Family Feud studio hums like a live wire. Bright lights bounce off polished floors. Laughter ripples through rows of faces. The giant board blinks. Music fades. Steve Harvey stands center stage in his dark navy suit, the gold of the microphone gleaming under the lights. He flashes that famous grin that can break tension before it's born. It's Friday night in Atlanta, another episode in a long line of them, and everything feels familiar. Until it doesn't. The Sullivan family stands ready. 5 faces framed by excitement and nerves. Marcus at the podium, his wife, Jennifer, their 2 teenage sons behind them, and the family's patriarch, Robert, watching from the front row. It's taken 5 years of applications to reach this moment. The audience claps. Steve cracks a joke about Marcus's jittery hands, and laughter fills the space again. The next question pops on the board. Name something you'd be surprised to see at a fancy dinner party. Easy, lighthearted. 100 funny answers wait to be said. Steve turns, eyebrows raised, his smile inviting. Marcus leans into the mic, and the air changes. He says something meant to be clever, but it lands like a stone dropped in still water. A line drawn not in humor but in cruelty. A phrase that carries old poison dressed as a joke. The sound dies instantly. Chairs creak. A woman in the audience gasps. Steve's smile freezes mid-curve, his eyes narrowing almost imperceptibly. For the first time in years of hosting, he doesn't move. Silence stretches, 20 seconds that feel like a lifetime. The lights seem too bright now. Crew members exchange uncertain glances. The producers motion for a commercial cut, but Steve lifts a hand, steady and firm. "No," he says softly. "Keep it rolling." He turns toward Marcus. The charm leaves his face, replaced by something heavier, hurt mixed with disbelief. His voice, when it comes, is calm, measured, and impossibly human. "Marcus," he begins, the name hanging in the air like a verdict. "I've been called a lot in my lifetime. I grew up in Cleveland in the 60s. You learn early what certain words can do. You learn how they cut." Marcus shifts. His smirk falters. In the audience, his father looks down at his hands. Steve steps closer. Not threatening, but commanding attention. "What you just said wasn't about dinner parties. It was about me. About what you think people like me are allowed to be." His tone deepens. "But here's the truth, you didn't hurt me. You revealed you." The audience exhales as if remembering how to breathe. A smattering of applause breaks, but Steve lifts his hand again. "No, let me finish." He looks straight into the camera. "There are folks watching who think words like that are just jokes. They're not. They're seeds. You plant enough of them and something ugly grows, sometimes a lifetime long. You can hear sniffles now. Even the stage crew looks glassy-eyed." Steve turns back to Marcus. "You have 2 choices right now. 1, you apologize to your sons. They're learning from you this very second. Show them the man you want them to become. Then walk off this stage with whatever dignity you've got left." He pauses. "Or 2, you stay. Play this game. And when it's done, we talk. You, me, your family. We figure out where that kind of thinking comes from, and how to end it before your boys carry it any further." The words hang between them. Jennifer covers her mouth. Tears slide down her cheeks. Their younger son begins to cry quietly. The older one stares at the floor, jaw trembling. Robert, the father, stands. His voice cracks through the silence like gravel breaking apart. "Son," he says, "I taught you wrong. My father taught me wrong." It ends here. Something breaks inside Marcus. His shoulders collapse. The tough mask falls. He takes off his cap, looks at Steve, and whispers, "I'll stay. I want to learn." Steve nods once, solemnly. "Then let's play." The crowd doesn't cheer. It sighs, releasing the weight of the moment. The board lights up again, and somehow the show continues. Yet everything feels different. Between each question, Steve shares a story. Sleeping in his car for 3 years, chasing comedy. The teacher who told him a black boy couldn't be on television. His mother who said hate poisons only the heart that carries it. Marcus listens. Really listens. Between rounds he asks, "When did you stop being angry? And how do you forgive?" Steve answers quietly, "Because if I don't, that poison wins." By the final round, the Sullivans lose the game, but nobody cares. Something far bigger than prize money has unfolded. When the cameras stop, Steve doesn't walk off set. He invites the Sullivans and their father to stay. What begins as a post-show conversation turns into hours of truth-telling. Marcus admits he came hoping to make a fool of the host he thought he'd never respect. Robert confesses his own life of fear and ignorance. Steve listens to all of it without interruption, eyes steady, heart open. Later that footage airs as a special called The Healing. Captures tears, apologies, and small awakenings. Marcus breaks down, admitting, "I didn't see you as human. I see now how wrong that is." Steve reaches across the table, clasps his hand, and says, "You're human, Marcus. That means you can change." Months pass. The clip spreads everywhere. Viewers call it the most powerful moment in television history. Schools play it. Churches discuss it. Families talk about it at dinner. Letters pour into the studio from people confronting their own inherited bias. Marcus starts a foundation with Steve called From Hate to Hope, traveling to schools across the South. His father joins him, telling students, "Don't waste decades like I did. Choose better." Jennifer writes a book about rebuilding love after prejudice. Their sons launch a project called The Last Generation of Hate, vowing to stop the cycle for good. Years later, Steve stands again under the same bright lights. The studio looks the same, but something invisible has shifted. Across from him stands Marcus, now older, clearer-eyed, his sons beside him. The audience cheers not for competition, but for reconciliation. "You saved my family," Marcus says, voice thick with emotion. Steve smiles that deep, knowing smile. "No, man, you saved yourself. I just held up a mirror." The crowd rises, not in excitement, but in reverence. Cameras zoom in on clasped hands, the same image that once graced magazine covers. Steve looks out over the audience, his voice steady and warm. "Change is possible. Redemption is real. Sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is choose love when hate feels easier." The applause swells until the sound feels like thunder under the lights. The board fades to black, the music rises, and Steve lowers his microphone, eyes shining. For once, a game show has become something else entirely. A living proof that grace can exist in the same room as pain. That people can walk in blind and walk out seeing. In the hush after the applause, Steve turns slightly toward the camera, almost as if speaking to everyone watching at home. "We're all human," he says quietly. "We're all flawed. But we can be better than we were yesterday." The lights dim, and the scene freezes there. Two families once divided by fear, now standing together beneath the same bright sign that reads Family Feud, a title that suddenly means something much deeper than a game.